we are doing an exciting little upgrade to Escapade today. If you can't guess already, it is some shade pieces, which we are in much need of, especially since being in the Caribbean. The whole reason this came about was we're having to shut our curtains all the time to keep the heat out. And I've seen these shade pieces on other people's boats, but I was thinking it's going to cost a fortune to have someone do it. Went researching online to try and find a DIY solution and found a brand called Easy Snap, and they do DIY kits. On the Easy Snap Direct website, we found all the details about their window shades along with helpful tips and tricks for installation. Using their online calculator, we entered the measurements for each area we wanted to cover. They then sent us an email with a link to our recommended kit size, layout diagram, and pricing. So with the hardware, we also didn't want something that we had to drill more holes in the boat with. So the really cool thing about what they've created is they've got these little 3M adhesive studs. So you actually place these onto the window or onto a flat surface, and then they've got little pins and clips. So this basically goes around the mesh. We'll show you how it all works after. And then you get little 3M priming sticks for where you're going to stick the studs, a little cutting tool and a tool to actually pull away the mesh off the studs, so if you want to remove them. You get a little application guide and also a handy little measuring tool. All right, so first step is to clean the window or the area that you're going to stick the studs with isopropyl. So we'll do that. Just make sure it's all clean. And then we are going to measure and stencil the little circles. So we'll do 5-inch increments from the middle of that circle to the next one. So here, measure along. Then I just use the frame to measure up here, the middle of the circle where the line is. So basically, this is what you'll end up with. So then we've got our 3M primer stick, which we're going to pop on in the circles. So you actually just snap and then give it a little shake. And then we prime just in the circles. And then you actually leave this to dry for 5 minutes before you place your 3M studs on. Okay, now we're going to put the 3M studs on. So they just look like this. So you just peel the little sticky layer off and then place it on the circle and use a bit of pressure. Sit until tomorrow, and then we'll come back in the late afternoon and do the remainder. All right, it's now been 24 hours. I've gone ahead this morning and popped the rest of these on the other windows, and so now we're going to pop the pins all on those. Nice and easy, they just pop on. The next step was to measure and cut the mesh into slightly oversized pieces. We referred to the provided layout diagram to double check the measurements for each section. They also included a special white pencil that's visible on the black mesh, which we used to outline the pieces and also mark the spots for the 3M adhesive studs I showed earlier. Then all we had to do was follow our stencil and cut each piece. We used this handy little tool they gave us, but some sharp scissors will also do the job perfectly. Once we had our basic pieces cut, it was time to lay it over the area as straight as we could and then start pressing the mesh onto the pins. The good part about this is if we needed to readjust where the mesh sits on some pins, we could just pull the mesh back off and start over. Got it all attached. As you can see there, the mesh is going through all of the pins. And then once you're happy with how it's sitting, you can apply the little caps and then you can cut the excess off. Okay, so we've just gone along and traced out the stencil with the white pencil. So now we can remove it, which you can use a screwdriver or the little tool that they give you. So you're just going behind here and removing this bit so that we can cut it.
And then it's done.
It's all done. Yay, exciting.
20.
And we can see what they're like.
20 more windows to go.
It's actually pretty quick to do though, but you can just spread it out over like a few days if you want. Obviously you can icy prop all the white stuff off as well. Alright, snap it all back in place. Obviously it's easy to see where it goes now. And look at that, looks so fresh. So here's the window before, obviously with the studs on, but you can see through to our curtains. And that is after. Do the rest of the windows and show you what it looks like. Done. Super happy with it. So covered all our windows here, small hatches, and also we've done our door hatch and our small hatches. And the cool thing about those is it's kind of acting like a fly or mosquito net because those windows actually open in. So we've been able to put it on the outside nice and flush, and we can have the window open and we shouldn't get mozzies. There'll only be like a really minuscule gap. So depending on the type of hatches or windows you have, you can use it, I guess, like a mozzie screen too. And it's actually made it all look more modern and like fresh again because our black windows are quite faded underneath and a little bit discoloured, so it's kind of aesthetically pleasing again too. I'll show you what it looks like on the inside. So basically from the outside, if we're in a marina or something like that, obviously our windows are quite small, but you shouldn't be able to see inside during the day. But from the inside, you can see out really nicely, but it just gives you that little bit of shade, stops the heat coming in. So that's what they look like. Obviously you can easily see outside, but no one can see in, so you have a bit of privacy. Also got it up here.
It's so good. Like, it's cool the boat down about 10 degrees.
Yeah, we have been shutting these curtains, so if it gets super hot we'll still shut them, but it seems to be doing a pretty good job, doesn't it?
It's amazing.
And there's also a bit of light coming into the boat, which is nice. Yeah, very happy.